Hello fellow humans and welcome to the shop review. Now, obviously there is only one good thing that is actually worth reviewing in the shop, and that's these three tanks right here. The rest of them is, nope. Ignore this. I mean, the Eagle is fine, but super Pershing does make creds, but also does make you severely depressed, so I wouldn't recommend that vehicle at all. We're gonna have a look at these three vehicles. One to make creds, one to annoy T9s, and one to sell. The highest credit coefficient out of those three is the Löwe, which means it does do quite a lot of credits, which is very nice. However, the problem is the Löwe is the slowest out of these, followed by the T34, and then the i6 is a bit faster, which is about the only thing that's good about the i6, and I would definitely recommend simply selling the i6 because it's useless. So, the Löwe has a very good gun, 232mm standard penetration, 294 premium. The gun on this vehicle is extremely accurate, it is very good at aiming. It's got 8 degrees of gun depression. The gun on this thing is excellent. The problem is the armor and the mobility are not so much, which means this isn't a super heavy tank, despite it weighing 92 tons. This is nowhere near a super heavy, and you might want to play this thing a bit more passively than trying to just simply brawl with the i6s of this world. Now, the T34 does have a gun that has very high penetration as well, however, slightly lower DPM, but better alpha damage. The accuracy is good, but the aim time and the dispersion is crap. 10 degrees of gun depression, very nice. Mobility, not good. It's a heavy tank. The armor on the turret is excellent. The hull is garbage, especially against the Tier 9. And the Löwe's armor is present. Now, the i6, it's not really good at anything, really. I mean, you have the Object 2FT, you have the 112-2, you have the Type 57, you have everything that is better than the i6 these days, which means this vehicle basically has no merit if you have any of those other vehicles. If you don't have any of those other vehicles, sell the i6, get one of those. So, it's inaccurate, it's got low DPM, I mean, it's got 400 alpha damage, but it's got less less penetration, less accuracy, less gun depression, mobility is slightly better, but it doesn't really matter too much, and the armor is a joke. So, don't get the i6. Which means, now let's play the Löwe and the T34. The bundle is certainly worth it for 7.5k, because, I mean, you're getting 3 tanks, well, 2 and credits. So here we go with the Löwe. Now, the thing with this vehicle is it's slow. However, the armor on it, well, I mean, it holds up excellently against Tier 7s, but this is a Tier 9 match, and it is a massive target. The side is, well, paper. You can pen the turret at the front here with guns of about 250mm, so you might want to be careful there, and obviously you can't peek very quickly, which means I don't like this thing, for the most part, because here's the thing, the faster you peek, the better you play, because if you peek before the enemy can even realize that you're there, you'll have a great time. Now, this is a new update, and they kind of sort of changed the gun sounds a bit, which is nice. They made it more World of Tanks PC-ish, which is good. So, and they buffed the IS to a degree that is unnoticeable. So, let's see. 75. The sound is beautiful. Thank you, Wargaming, for that. You've done something good, which is rare, but it happens. So, again, we're going to try to play somewhat hull down here. You can do that. You got the 8 degrees of gun depression. You got the turret. That is good enough. I mean, you have to aim properly to be able to pen the turret in the right spots, or unless you just shoot at the side of it, because it's kind of like lengthened at the front, which means you can shoot at that portion. So, be careful with this tank. It's more of an intermediate tank. It's not a beginner tank. It is very much intermediate level and above. So, that's 310, and that is most likely a Tiger 2 that is camping back there, because it's the only one that can have 310 alpha damage out of those tanks that aren't spotted. That's only the Tiger. That's the second thing. Peek fast and know the hell what the hell's going on, because you know where everyone is. You'll exactly know who can shoot me when, who can shoot me where, who can shoot me for how much damage, who can move where. Things like that. If you know that, you're good. So, obviously there are other things as well that you might want to know, but ideally you also want to know your own tank. However, as long as you know where everyone is, you're already better than 55% of players. So, let's see whether we can show this guy. No, I'm just going to see here. I don't want to just push the Tiger or anything like that in this moment, because obviously the Tiger is going to get himself wrecked, given that he is, given his positioning, not the right player. That's another thing. Learn to extract information from a tank's playstyle. Right? If you see a Tiger camping, you're like, okay, this guy's not the super Unicorn, most likely. So, things like that are also incredibly useful. Now, He's going to do a very casual game here. Obviously, this is not going to be like really high damage because here's the thing. If I do 5k damage, every tank looks good. But let's try a relatively average, normal game here. And let's also see how much creds you make, because obviously if you do around 2,000 average damage, which is fairly reasonable, then you'll have a great credit making experience with this vehicle. The E75 is stock. So he's hiding though, which means I'm gonna... whatever that is. Thanks for the extra lower plate armor, my guy. Appreciate that. And now we only have the SMV, who I can't pen through the turret. Gonna shoot HE at the side, gonna do 52 damage. It's better than nothing. And now, if he does have the regular shotgun, well, he's got 3000 DPM. If he has the autoloader, he's screwed. Well, auto-reloader, but anyway. So now, let's push this guy, and accuracy. Beautiful. And that is the Löwe. You don't want to really brawl with heavies too much, and if you do this, if you do this kind of damage every couple of games, then you're going to get quite a lot of crits with this vehicle. Let's have a look. 2.6k damage, which I think is fairly reasonable. And that nets us 76,000 total crits, which is pretty nice. Without any sort of... I mean, I have a premium account, obviously, but without any sort of boosters. That's 34. Now, why did I previously say sell the i6? Because it's pretty much the worst of the Soviet-style premiums, given you also have the 111 and the Glacial. So I definitely don't recommend that one. And because the thing is, a tank isn't just bad when its own stats are horrible. A tank is also bad when it's the worst out of its class of tanks. Duh. So T-34 is not that. This used to be, in World of Tanks PC, a tier 9 vehicle, a regular tank, and then the T-30 was the tier 10. However, they undid that and they made it a premium. And in Blitz, they didn't even do that. They simply just made it a tier 8 premium vehicle. But because this vehicle was a tier 9 once upon a time, means that its penetration is absolutely excellent. And my Eagle is flying away from any sort of fight. So, let's see, you're going to be able to shoot the Black Prince. We're going to be able to shoot the AT. You don't want to, like, fight over here with the CDA or anything like that. The accuracy can be better on this vehicle, but it is solid enough. So now, let's get out of here. Obviously, any of these positions are bad for the T-34, because in the T-34, if you're on flat ground, you're playing it wrong, which is what I'm doing right here. This vehicle does not belong on any form of flat ground at all. You get into the hills, and if you can't get into hills, be ashamed of yourself. So, yeah. It's also not very fast, so let's try and get out of here. I do hope that he shoots the SMV instead of me, but it's probably not going to happen. Or shoot that SMV. Just... Basically, Blitz is about have your teammates get shot, not you. So now... these new gun sounds are nice. Gonna have to do... I do have a hill now in front of me. It's just a dead tank. But we can use that to my advantage. Shoot the CDA. Well, they only 4 left, but let's see. Now, obviously, this thing does make slightly less creds than its Löwe, because it doesn't quite have the same credit coefficient. However, it can pin anything, which is fun. So you barely ever have to fire premium ammo, which, you know, is good for your creds, because if you never have to fire premium ammo, you never have to pay for it. That is good. And now, there's Lightweight, who is saluting the sky or whatever he's trying to do there. And now... all I'm gonna have to do... he's not even running away. It's like, where is the self-preservation of Blitz players? I see this so often that someone just doesn't run. Like, if you are in a fight and you can't win that fight, but you can run, just run, and you can take another fight somewhere else that is more favorable. I'll never understand. But anyway, get the bundle. It's good. And given the rest of the shop is very mediocre right now, let's have a look at the creds. I did 500 less damage. However, I did 20k less creds, so there's that. The rest of the shop, obviously crates are always bad. These two are horrible. And the Krupp is a joke. I mean, if you want to buy a joke, you can buy the joke. 907, I mean, I don't really see the point of owning 907, but if you want it, sure, not going to stop you. Get this thing for free. And the Object and the Badger, we already talked about that last week. So if you want to see my opinion on those two vehicles, check out the video from last week. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.